So we've got you are driving on a Canadian freeway to a town that is 500 kilometers from your home. After 30 minutes, you pass a freeway exit that you know is 50 kilometers from your home. Assuming that you continue at the same constant speed, how long does the entire trip take? So for problems like these, I like to draw pictures. So we're going to assume our road is straight. And so we've got home and town. And the town is 500 kilometers away. So this distance here is 500. After 30 minutes, we pass a freeway exit that is 50 kilometers from your home. So let's say here is going to be the exit. And so that means we know that this distance between home and the exit is 50. And that took, let's just center that. That took 30 minutes. So for a problem like this, we have this formula that's called the distance formula. It's D equals RT. Basically, your speed times time will tell you what your distance is. Because your speed is usually like miles per hour. You multiply that by the number of hours, that will tell you your number of miles. Now here we are in minutes. Usually we want to do hours. So instead of 30 minutes, we're going to say that's half an hour. So we're going to use 0.5. So we know the distance from there, that was 50 kilometers, and then it took half an hour. So that gives us 50 equals R times 0.5. So I can just rewrite this as 0.5 R. So I want to solve for my speed. I want to solve for R. So since I have 0.5 times R, I'm going to divide. So I'm going to divide everything by 0.5. So 50 divided by 0.5 will give me 100. So this is kilometers. So this is kilometers per hour as our speed. I'm going to just write that there. So now we know that we're driving 100 kilometers per hour, and we have 500 kilometers to go from home to this town. So we're going to use the same formula again. This time we're looking for distance. We know our R, that was 100. And actually this time we're looking for time, sorry. We know our distance, just 500. So we're solving for T, and because we use units of hours, when we find our time, that's going to be in hours. So I have 100 times T, so I just divide both sides by 100. And so that will give me 5 equals T. So that means that the entire trip will take 5 hours.
Okay, Professor, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Muriel, and so I talk about. I'm sorry, hold on. All right, so I talked about how math is always so challenging for me, and the reason because how I looked at this when we first read it is I just took 500, divided it by 50, and then I got 100, and I multiplied that. Let's see, what did I do? Because I still got 5, but the way I did it, I just wanted to make sense to do it like how you just did. But I just did it differently, but I got the same answer.
So let's see. So if you took 500, divided it by 50, you are basically splitting 500 up into 50 like feet or 50 kilometer segments.
And
so
then
like
I multiplied the 10 by 30. Is that what I did? Yes. The 10 by 30, and then I got 300, and then I took the 300 and divided it by 60 because it's 60 minutes in an hour, and that's how I got it.
Yeah, that's a different way to look at it, and that gives you that is a correct way to do it, because if you're taking 500, you're dividing it into 50 kilometer segments. There are 10 segments of 50 kilometers each. And you know that 50 kilometers took you 30 minutes. So if there's 10 of those, then you would have to multiply your 30 minutes by 10. That got you your 300. So that gave you 300 minutes, and then because we want hours, then you just had to divide that by 60 to get hours. That is entirely correct. It's a different way to look at it. But that if you do that method for a problem like this, it will work every single time.
Okay.
That sounds like Common Core.
Well, see, the whole thing about Common Core, and I this is one of my little pet things, is that people are like, it's this new math, and it's not that it's new math. It's just we're teaching you multiple ways to do a problem. That's all it is. As it's like the same math where it looks new because they're showing it to you in a different way.
Yeah.
Because we recognize that not everybody thinks the same way, and so if we try to teach everybody the same way to do it, it won't make sense for some people.
Right, because yes, and that's been my all my life. Math has been so difficult to me to the point where I don't even want to look at it. When I look at it, it gives me a headache, and I'm immediately there's this instant block that goes up, and I'm like, okay, because like when I would break this down, like how I just told you how I did it and got the same answer. When I would do these in my prior, when I took math at one of the Robert Morris University some time back, and the professor was like, "No, you're doing it wrong." But I would get the same answers as he would get. So, and it's like I was so frustrated.
That's a bummer.
It doesn't make sense. So I just quit.
Yeah, I think it's really. It depends on who your teacher is. Some teachers want you to do it this one way every single time. And for me, if you can explain how you did it and it makes sense, I'm okay with that. Of course, you guys have a different instructor that's grading, so that's, an additional layer there. But I'm all about showing you different methods to do things. And so when we go next week, when you guys are solving quadratic equations, there are like 4 different ways you can do it. And some people are like, why are we learning 4 different ways? So, well, because one of these may not work for you,
Yeah. So wait, can you explain that again? How you did that? You took 500 divided by 50, and then what?
I took the 5 divided by 50, and so I'm doing this again as I do it, because once I did the 500 divided by 50, and then I got 10, and I multiplied that by the 30 because it took them 30 minutes to do that. So I multiplied that by 30, and I got 300. And when I got that 300, I divided it by 60 because there's 60 minutes in an hour, and that's how I got.
Oh.
And it's just like I want to understand it this way, because like this is like how everybody knows it. So I don't mind doing it differently. I just want to know how everybody else gets it, so I can try to understand it. Like it's so challenging.
Yeah, we use this method because this one is like, your method will work if you're given like a small segment like that, but it wouldn't work for every single type of problem. But if you have the formula D equals RT, that does work for every single type of problem. So that's one of the reasons why I'm using it that way, because that is a little more versatile, but that doesn't mean that you can't figure out some other way to do them.
And distance, okay, so D equals RT.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, it comes basically from your speed. So your R is your speed, which, let's say we have miles per hour. So that's miles over hour. So if you multiply by the time, your units cancel and you're left with miles. So that's how we get that formula. It's basically comes from unit conversions.